Well, I would use the bigger chisel to remove more material and to give the general shape of the marble before starting to work in more detail.
The same thing happens with the cutting tool. When we want to remove a lot of material, this operation is known as roughing. In this operation, we lose control over the surface finish, but we gain cycle time because a lot of material is removed quickly. Now, if I already have the general shape and I want to work on the features of my sculpture, is a big chisel useful?
No, what I want now is control to go into detail. That's why I would use the smaller chisel.
Excellent. The operation of removing material in small quantities to achieve a better finish of the piece is known as finishing.
Okay, so I start with a roughing tool to remove large amounts of material, and then I use a finishing tool to go into detail and give the finish I want to my piece.
Very well. I see that you've got the idea really well. Now, there's one more operation, milling. Once we've finished machining our piece, we want to separate it from the rest of the material. For this, we're going to use the milling cutter.
So I need at least 3 cutting tools. One for roughing, another for finishing, and another for milling. Jorge, I'm starting to understand that the selection of the cutting tool is also a science.
Yes. My goal is to give you the basic guidelines so that you can make the selection. Therefore, we're going to divide the procedure into 2 stages: materials and geometry. The material and coating of the insert will determine the cutting speed limits that I can use. Now, what we want to reduce is the wear of the insert. This means that we have to consider both the hardness and the chemical composition of the material that we are going to machine.
But how do I know which material and coating I have to choose?
Excellent question. That's why we have the ISO standards, which would have defined families of materials for each insert. Let me show you. We have the P families, which are for steels. The M families, which are for stainless steels. The K family for cast irons. N families for non-ferrous materials. And S families for super alloys and titanium materials. And the H families for other types of materials. The most used are the P families for steel, and K and M. Well, let's see them. Which materials do we have to make the chess pieces from?
I have pieces of 1010 steel and 6060 aluminum.
Well, based on the classification of the ISO standard, which family should I use to machine the 6060 aluminum standard?